this was an action taken by ARM, to your mind, to force some kind of pre-trial settlement. Please take that and run with it, Stacy.
Yeah, it feels that way. So it's a 60-day, supposedly, timeline. Assuming they did this yesterday, the 60-day limit would be December 21st. The trial right now is scheduled for December 16th through December 20th, so it's kind of right on top of that. Yeah, to me, this feels like an attempt to drive a settlement from Qualcomm on the eve of the trial. It feels like they're ramping up the negotiations pretty hard there. So yes.
Stacy, on Monday night, Qualcomm unveiled Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is based on the Nuvia acquisition, right? Based on Nuvia designs. Less than 24 hours ago, Cristiano Amon came on the show with me to discuss it. Last night, Bloomberg broke this story about ARM cancelling the license as part of this dispute. Coincidence, or what do you make of the chronology?
Probably not, right? I mean, like, and they look like good parts, right? So I mean, like the general thrust of this dispute, as I understand it, again, I will caveat, I'm not a lawyer, and like I won't be on the jury either, but Qualcomm bought this company Nuvia. Nuvia was an ARM server startup, but what it really was, it was a bunch of ex-Apple guys. It was the Apple M1 design team that designed Apple's first custom chip. Qualcomm bought them to get that expertise, and they're going to be delivering products across their portfolio using that expertise. Qualcomm's current products are made on something called a technology license from, that's like the off-the-shelf ARM stuff. Moving to an architectural license where Qualcomm does the custom chips, the royalty rates tend to be lower. Yes. Nuvia's rates were actually higher. So what ARM, I think, really wants is for Qualcomm to apply Nuvia's higher rates like through the portfolio, because otherwise the rates would come down. And when Qualcomm, you know, and to enable that, ARM decided not to approve the license transfer of Nuvia to Qualcomm. Qualcomm's response, and I'll be honest, I have a certain degree of sympathy for it, although like I said, I'm not a lawyer. Their response is effectively like, what are you talking about? We have our own architectural license. It covers the exact same IP and technology. Take a hike, right? And that seems to be where this is. I think ARM is potentially worried that rates could go lower if Qualcomm makes a transition from technology license to architectural license. You know, I think if yes, Qualcomm were to agree to what ARM is wanting, then the rates would go higher, and hopefully they'll settle out somewhere in the middle. Like, I don't know, I can't imagine that it's good for either of them to actually take this in front of a jury. Jury trials are a bit of a crapshoot under the best of circumstances. So,
Stacey,
I want to take this over the next 60 days.
Allow me to take this opportunity just to point out that ARM did not comment on the Bloomberg report, but Qualcomm did. Qualcomm did. So let's just show what Qualcomm had to say, or at least some of it. And, you know, it's kind of fighting talk, right? It's them saying that, you know, it's trying to strong-arm a long-time partner. And this is the bit I want to talk to you about. Interfere with our performance-leading CPUs, and then we can get to the royalty rates bit. Yeah. Qualcomm is not the same company today that it was when I moved to California 6 years ago. It's tried to diversify its business, and the Nuvia acquisition and its sort of change of what the technology offers of the smartphones core to that. Could you just speak about how you view Qualcomm and its place in this smartphone market for Android?
Yeah, no, so they're pretty dominant. They own the whole flagship space, particularly the flagships in smartphones where the ASPs are higher. They've also been, you know, the whole space has been making this push toward AI smartphones, and we can argue, do people want AI smartphones? Does it drive an upgrade cycle? But increasingly, when people go out to buy smartphones, they're going to buy AI smartphones because that's what's going to be for sale. And the content, I think, is materially higher in some of those phones versus phones without the AI functionality. And that's a big area where like some of the Nuvia architectural expertise is coming in terms of performance and everything else. We saw some of the benchmarks from some of the new stuff that they announced earlier this week in Hawaii. Like the parts look really good.
Right.
But that's kind of what's, and by the way, they're not just isolating Nuvia though to smartphones. Clearly, they've already launched PC chips.
AI
and they're going to be rolling that across the rest of their increasingly diversified portfolio, auto and IoT and like everything else. Yeah.